Hey, Mike.
Hey, John, what's up, man?
Nothing much. How you doing?
Oh, I can't complain.
Me either. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna introduce the show. Then I'll let you. Then I'll introduce you. Then we'll go on ahead and start with the show.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. For today's podcast, we actually have Mike with us today. Mike Perkins. He's actually the independent um artist that I actually went and interviewed last month, and also for tonight's podcast episode, we're going to be talking about movies that actually traumatized us as a kid. And not only that, but I'm also going to be talking about Twister. It's actually going to get a reboot. What do you think about that?
Uh, I think I think it'll be good, man. I'm excited about it. I think it's gonna be weird without people like Philip Seymour Hoffman and shit, but I think it'll be okay.
I think so too. I mean, I know that the reason why it was so unique back in the day was because it was like the first time that we actually saw something like that in the movie theaters, to where we were glued to the edge of our seats because it looked so real looking. You
Yeah,
know,
and they're rebooting so many movies now. It's kind of weird. You know what I mean? To me,
it is weird because back in the '90s and even early '80s, like we grew up in and everything. We were used to original films actually appearing in the movie theaters, opposed to
right?
now where you have like big blockbuster films, like you have your MCU films, your DCU films,
Mhm.
franchises, and here and there with some independent film projects and stuff like that.
Right.
You
But
know,
I think it's gonna be good though. I do. The Twister movie.
I'm wondering what they're gonna do that's actually can be different though. I mean, we've seen one disaster movie. It's kind of hard to actually do a disaster movie that's actually going to be rebooted into something. You know what I mean? It's like we
Yeah.
saw,
Okay.
but this is what they actually, especially when you actually have Bill Paxton that was in the movie as well for the original film,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I don't know how they can actually make something different. Usually, whenever you reboot something, you want to try something different that maybe the original film didn't do,
Yeah.
and you know. I don't know what they're going to do with maybe make the special effects a little bit better, but
Yeah. I'll tell you
but
a reboot I just watched that was really good was the Jay and Silent Bob one. That was a good one.
oh yeah, a matter of fact, I did my review on that, man. It was actually
Oh yeah,
it was better than what I thought it was going to be.
yeah. It was to me. It was funny. Don't get me wrong, but it was more of a serious. You know what I mean? Like it was good. It was just a good movie. I was intrigued. You know what I mean? The whole time,
And
instead
it's
of just being silly the whole time, it actually had a little bit of heart to it. You know what I mean?
exactly, it actually felt real because of the fact that Jay just finds out that he has a daughter. He's trying to come to terms with that, and also try
Yeah.
and get on his daughter's good side, and also try and be a good father. But at the same time, Jay's still going to be Jay.
Right.
And I
Right.
think, and it was actually, I have to agree with you. That was actually a really good film and
Yeah.
everything that Kevin Smith did.
Yeah. I enjoyed it.
But yeah, right now with this Twister reboot and everything, they'd have no clue at what they're actually gonna be doing right now. The plot details are unknown, so this allows me to speculate that it's probably just gonna probably be better special effects, and maybe the plot might be a little bit different to where we can actually understand tornadoes.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I mean, with the graphics, as long as they actually put the money into it for the graphics and shit, I think it'll be okay. As long as it's not cheesy. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Sometimes they'll cut it. I don't know. Sometimes it just doesn't look good. And then it screws up the whole movie.
I agree
That's
with you.
we were talking on the last one about Irishman.
Yeah,
Like that. I mean, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? They could have put a little bit more money into it, something. I mean, I know the movie itself was probably expensive, but they could have worked on the CGI a little bit with the old. You know what I mean? Making them old. I mean, making them young. I'm sorry.
well, I feel like this. You can actually. I feel like they should have just went on and casted young actors versus
Hmm.
for the
Hmm.
flashbacks.
Because I don't give a shit how young you make Robert De Niro look. He's still got that old man walk, man. He's old.
That's what I was going to
you know?
get to. I'm glad they actually
Yeah.
got to that before I did, because you can actually CGI the look, but you
Yeah.
can't CGI the way someone walks. The whole entire
Exactly. I mean, he looks like when he's walking, he looks like a 70-year-old man. You can't
right.
hide that.
Exactly. Especially when you look at Al Pacino trying to get up from the recliner
Yeah,
and everything.
yeah, yeah. And don't get me wrong, man. I loved the movie. I loved it, but I can see where it turned a lot of people off. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I can see it too. I mean, that Martin Scorsese film doesn't rank high on my list, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But there is definitely problems within the film itself. I can
Right.
appreciate what they did with it, but
And see, and going back to Twister, as long as they don't cut corners, man, I think it'll be okay. You
I
know?
think so too.
Yeah.
So let's go on ahead and talk about movies that traumatized us. Normally, I'll do a top 10 list for something like this, but I figured let's go on ahead and forget about doing a top 10 list and just have a conversation about some of the stuff that actually traumatized us.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I do have a list of movies, but they're not in any kind of order from number 1 to 10 or anything like that. So we can
Okay.
just go off the cuff on whatever ones that whatever ones that you actually have listed.
Okay.
All right.
My number one that traumatized me. I mean, when I watched it, I couldn't sleep for weeks. It screwed me up. Was The Exorcist. That one.
That
That bothered me.
I still remember The Exorcist and everything. I mean, I watch it every single time it comes on TV and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. As a matter of fact, that's actually on my list as well, especially when you look at how dark and grotesque it was for its time
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
and the practical effects that they put into that film is just
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Oh yeah. For sure. Especially for that time. Oh yeah. For sure.
And remember the part with the girl where her head spins around and everything?
Oh yeah. Oh
That
yeah.
part,
Yeah.
that part actually got me.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a part where when she's possessed and it's before her head spins, something like her throat swells up real big, and it's like that. I don't know why, but it freaked me out so bad, man. Like it freaked me up. And I mean, I think what really messed me up about the whole film was I think I watched it when I was probably about 10, and I wasn't supposed to. I wasn't even supposed to have it in my house, because I mean I come from a Catholic family, and we didn't really talk about the devil. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just frowned upon. Don't talk about it. It's evil. It
Right.
ain't. You know what I mean? Don't bring it in my house, basically. And man, I watched it and I thought that I did something wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, oh my god, like I'm gonna get possessed now. You know?
To be honest with you, I also come from a Catholic family as well.
Oh yeah,
And, you know, and we weren't like real strict or anything like that. We watched horror films and things like that.
yeah.
And I don't remember my parents actually having a restriction on what I watched, which is actually unusual that I came
Well,
out as
see,
well as I did.
yeah, and see, with me, it was anything to do with the devil. You know what I'm saying? Like it just wasn't
Right.
allowed. And I snuck and I got it and I watched it, and man, like I said, about 2 weeks I was having nightmares, and it was rough. It was a rough 2 weeks for me.
I can imagine because also too, whenever the girl goes, well, she winds up saying, well, your mom sucks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In
Oh yeah.
hell.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, this person cannot be recovered. Something has to happen to this person to become unpossessed again, or they're just gonna have to go on ahead and kill her.
And and still to this day, man, I won't. When it comes to Ouija boards and shit, I don't mess with it. I won't mess with it.
I
Because
don't.
that's it. In the beginning of the movie. You know what I'm saying? She was playing with the Ouija board, and that's what invited it and all that shit. I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I don't mess with it, man. I don't
I'm
do it.
not that brave, to be honest with you.
No. Mm-mm. And see,
And
I don't know if I ever told you this, but me and my cousin have a paranormal group where we actually go and investigate haunted places. But like I said, I don't antagonize things. You know, so if something's happened, it's happening. You know what I mean? But I don't ever invite anything or ask for things to happen. That's just to me, inviting something that you don't really know about is not a good idea. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Like, so yeah, just don't mess with it.
You see, I don't mess with any of that stuff either. Even spirit boxes, for that matter, too. I don't mess with
No.
any of that stuff.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
A matter of fact, I don't know if you follow Omar or Mo or anything.
No.
Well, Mo is actually from Canada, and Mo actually lives in Florida, but they're best friends. But they go on
Mm-hmm.
paranormal. investigations and stuff like that on YouTube. But what Mo did was he actually had a spirit that was attached to him because of the Ouija board.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and his name was Tom. So every single time when something would go wrong, he would blame Tom for something screwing up or something that happened inside another house that he was actually investigating.
Mm. And who is this?
Mo Sargi. I'm gonna have to go on ahead and send you the link after we get off.
Yeah, yeah,
Same
for
thing with
sure.
Mo.
Mm. Mm.
But yeah, he actually had a spirit that actually followed him and actually was attached to him.
No shit.
Yeah, because of the Ouija
Yeah.
board and everything. And matter of fact, recently he just got rid of it. Got rid of the spirit. He ended up dropping the spirit off at somebody else's house that was abandoned.
Wow. No shit.
Yeah. So I know some people may not think that's real or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? That
Well, see, I
because
mean, and I totally get that. But when you've experienced certain things that you can't explain, I mean, what can you do? There's shit out there that we just don't know about. You
exactly.
know.
I'm a firm believer. If you keep knocking, something's going to answer back.
Oh, for sure.
You
For
know.
sure.
So with me, I decided to go with A Nightmare on Elm Street
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's a
because,
classic. That's
right.
good.
And I'm not talking about like the 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street movie or anything like that. This
Mm-hmm.
is the 1980s
Mm-hmm.
Nightmare on Elm Street movie with Robert Englund. And the
Yeah.
reason why this traumatized me was because we all have to go to sleep at some point or another.
Mm-hmm.
There's no getting around it. Even if you drink coffee, energy drinks, and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
you have to have a way of sleeping. And for somebody to terrorize you in your sleep and give you discomfort, that's horrifying as
Oh
a
yeah.
kid.
Oh yeah. It messed me up too. I couldn't sleep with my feet outside the car. I still don't. I still don't. My feet have to be tucked in, man. I won't do it. Yeah.
Also, too, I have to give credit to Wes Craven though for the originality behind it and the reason why he made this film. I don't know if
Oh
you
yeah.
know anything of the background of why it was made or anything.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not familiar.
Get this, there was actually something that was actually killing people in their sleep. So Wes Craven went on ahead and made the movie based off of that. Like there was some type of being that was actually killing people in their sleep.
No shit.
So he decided to make Nightmare on Elm Street like that. Not only that,
Yeah, that makes it even more creepy.
right? And on top of that, let me just tell you this too. Um, New Line Cinema, that was actually their first movie was Nightmare on Elm Street, and I forgot how much money that they actually put into it with the budget, but they went nuts with the gore, especially when Johnny Depp gets sucked in the bed,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that part was just amazing and mind blowing,
Oh
with
yeah.
how much blood that they actually had to use to get that out of there,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Oh yeah.
But the scene that actually stands out for me, that actually horrified me, was the part where he takes the girl and he's taking her and basically skinning her, well, cutting her alive on top of the ceiling all the way around, and then she lands back down on the bed again.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And
That was good. Yeah.
then
Oh,
also,
yeah. Especially when you see that as a kid. Oh my god. You know what I'm saying? Like
right,
it messes you up. Oh yeah.
most definitely. And then not only that, but Toys R Us also had Nightmare on Elm Street animatronic Freddy dolls.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you remember those or not.
Yeah, I do. I never got one. That's for sure.
I don't blame you. I wouldn't have either if I was a kid. But
Yeah.
this is what was the horrifying thing, though. Okay, that actually traumatized me inside the store to the point where I actually dreamed about that toy coming to life,
Oh yeah.
and it came into the size of Robert Englund. Like Robert Englund transformation came over the doll,
Mm.
the animatronic. Then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, I'm in the boiler room part, and you see Freddy, and you know what I'm saying? I actually saw
Mm-hmm.
Robert Englund, and there was fire behind him, and he was saying, "Well, you're next." And then all of a sudden, he did his little glove thing like he always does, and I woke up.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
that actually traumatized me to the point where I basically had to sleep with a nightlight
Oh yeah. Yeah.
on.
Oh yeah.
And it didn't traumatize. It doesn't traumatize me now or anything like that. Now looking back on it because of how cheesy it is, But
Right.
back then and everything, man, we were still trying to learn about this world and everything. We were trying to figure out what was make believe, what wasn't make believe, and it was just so real looking. It looked so
Mhm.
surreal, you know.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So
That's I mean, kids today, they see it, they watch it, and the way graphics are today, they watch that old stuff and they're like, that's not scary at all. Like I was trying to show, I was showing my daughter The Exorcist, and she watched it, and she was laughing at certain parts, and I was like, oh my god, when I was your age, I was scared to death of this, and she's laughing at it. It's crazy.
right, but I wonder how they would react to the Exorcist remake that they made. I wonder how your kids would actually handle that opposed to the not the Exorcist, but Poker Dice. My bad. How they would actually handle the Poker Dice remake opposed to the one that we grew up on.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to show her that. I
So
didn't
then
even
we
know
should
they had
compare the
one.
two. Yeah, they
Yeah,
actually did.
I
I
didn't know
forgot.
that.
Yeah, I forgot what year it came out in, but yeah, they actually made a Poker Dice remake
No
and
shit.
everything. Yeah,
Yeah, I have to check that out.
I want to say 2015 or 2016 that one came out.
Okay. Okay.
So it was pretty recent. So I think that
Hmm.
they might actually gravitate towards that a little bit more. Um, so what's your next one that you have?
Child's Play, man.
Okay, that's what I got too. So we can
Yeah,
both
yeah.
talk about this.
Yeah. I tell you, I had a when that came out, I had a My Buddy doll. Do you remember those?
Yeah, I remember those.
And it resembled Chucky a little bit, and that messed me. I actually threw the doll away. I threw it away because I couldn't look. I tried to go to sleep, and it was in my room, and I'd be looking at it, and I'm like, no, I don't trust it.
I don't blame you. I would have done the same thing though, man. Like for real. And not only that, but Toys R Us also sold that too.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's crazy. Who wants to have an actual Chucky doll, man?
Believe it or
I
not,
mean,
there's
now that I'm an adult, sure, I'd like to have one and collect it or whatever. But back then, no, no way.
no. It's like I don't want this.
Right? No way. Mm-mm.
And the reason why it was also scary for us is like this doll is pretty much the same height as us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it may look kind of corny to some people because of the fact that they're adults or teenagers and stuff. But don't forget, you were once little yourself, and you're about the same size of a doll. And if
Right.
that, and this doll is trying to free his soul into you while your soul is being sucked into the doll.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's no good.
no,
That's another one for sure. It scarred me.
I
It
think I
bothered me.
actually did have nightmares on that one though, if
Oh
I'm not
yeah.
mistaken.
Oh yeah. For sure, man. For sure.
What was
And
some of the scenes that stood out for you in that film?
man, one sticks out. I don't know which one it was from because I know they made several sequels and shit. But it was a part where he cut somebody's Achilles, and like the dude fell down. I can't remember which one that was from, but that really scared me. Just like going back to The Exorcist, it's that one part where her throat swells up, and I don't know why it scared me, but it really scared me. It's the same thing with like I said with Child's Play when he cut. It was some guy I can't remember. I, it's like it's a certain scene that sticks out, and he cuts the guy's Achilles, the dude falls over, and I was like, oh my god, that's terrible, it just
Oh
freaked me out.
yeah, I think I know what one you're talking about. I can't exactly remember it, but there
Well,
was also
there was a few, that came out, so I can't remember which one it was, but it was definitely it was Child's Play. I just don't remember which one it was.
for me the very first one was the scariest one because it has that psychological type of thing to it. Where
Hmm.
it's like, okay, is Andy really seeing this doll come to life, or is this Andy actually doing it?
Yeah.
Kind of vibe to it. You know what I mean? It's like
Hmm.
it wasn't me; it was Patricia that killed that person. You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
but as the movie plays out and everything, then you realize that Andy is actually telling the truth.
Hmm.
And that's the scary part, though, is your kid is actually telling the truth about something that's happening, and you think that this your kid is going wacko
Yeah.
because of this,
Right.
and saying that it's Charles Lee Ray, a serial killer that was gunned down. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, kid, whatever. I'm gonna go ahead and get you some mental help.
And it's another one of those things where a spirit possesses something, and it's like that kind of shit always bothered me. You know what I mean? It just, I don't know. I guess because I came up, like I said, Catholic, and we just, it was so taboo to talk about shit like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because as a Catholic, you believe that you can be possessed or something can be possessed, and you know what I mean. So you just one of those things you don't really discuss, you don't talk about it. It's like I said, it's really taboo. And then when you watch some shit like that, it just you start because even though I'm not a practicing Catholic anymore, I still have Catholic guilt. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like, if I do something or I feel like I'm doing something wrong, I'm like, oh man, like it's just same thing. Like if I watch a movie that I feel like I shouldn't be watching, I feel guilty. That was another thing when I was a kid. I'd watch it and I'd have that guilt. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, I
Right.
shouldn't have watched that. You know?
There's always that consciousness of
Right. Mm-hmm.
of feeling guilt and shame over something that you shouldn't be watching.
Right, right, right. And
And
I know you said you came up Catholic, so I know you know what I'm talking about.
yes, I do. You see, I'm not Catholic anymore
Right,
either,
right, right.
but there is some Catholic stuff that I still remember. And my grandmother, I still remember when I told my grandmother that I wasn't going to be Catholic anymore.
Hmm.
She's like, "No, you're Catholic." I said, "No, I'm not Catholic."
Oh
I
yeah, you
was
can't. There's certain things, man, that's gonna stick with you forever. Even if you're not a
right,
practicing Catholic, you're still, what I mean, so you still have those principles. You still have it. It's embedded in you. You can't help it.
exactly, because we were brought up a certain way
Right.
during that time. So of
Hmm.
course, some stuff is just going to stick with us.
Right. Absolutely.
Um, Another thing too that I want to mention too is there's also a part on Child's Play that really got me, and that was the part where Andy's about to, not Andy, but his mom's about to throw Chucky into the fire,
Hmm.
and then she comes to the realization that her son is telling the truth because the doll comes alive,
Right. Oh yeah.
and that part made me jump. It made me have goosebumps. It made me run into the other rooms
Oh
when I
yeah.
was a kid.
Oh, I actually, you mentioned that, and I forgot about it. Now I remember it, and I was like, oh yeah, that part was freaky, man. I remember that now.
Right, especially
Yeah.
when she finds out that there's no batteries that was in him
Hmm.
at all
Oh
that
yeah.
time.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that part actually creeped me out. And then also too, when she thought he was actually crazy and did put him in the mental institution for testing,
Hmm. Oh yeah.
and the doll still winded up finding a way inside that building.
Yeah.
So I thought it was really good for its time and everything, the
Oh
originality
yeah.
behind it on what they
For
were
sure.
doing.
Definitely.
So let's see. For me, I actually picked out a couple of ones that actually stood out to me.
Hmm.
And, you know, I'm always going to go to the movie Jaws because of the fact that, we loved going swimming.
Yeah.
We love going into the ocean,
Hmm.
regardless of the fact there's 100 to over 200 and something deaths that has to be with sharks.
Hmm.
I'm just exaggerating on the number. I know there's more than that,
Right.
but there's always that unknown on what's underneath you in the
Oh yeah.
ocean water.
Oh yeah. For sure.
And that opening scene where the girl is getting pulled under and you don't know what it is that's actually pulling her under.
Hmm. Oh,
And that part right there, and you don't even see the shark or anything. You don't see the shark until a good probably a couple of hours later into the movie.
hmm.
And that part right there got my attention as a kid.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then
It,
once
it, that's one of those movies, man, where it's like it's such a classic, and for its time, it was so scary back then. It changed the way horror movies are made. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just it was, it's definitely it's a very important film for sure, especially for horror movies, man. Like I never really found it scary. You know what I mean? But like I could see, especially back then when it came out, I could see where people were freaking out. You know what I mean? I get it.
right, because like I said, all of us go swimming at some point or another. We all go,
Right. Right.
especially during the summertime, we all go swimming and things like that. So I mean, of
And
course
the
that's
fear,
gonna
yeah, the fear of the unknown, man. You know what I'm saying? Just not knowing what's under there. That's scary. That's definitely.
exactly.
Oh yeah.
And another thing too that got my attention too with this film was, it even made me study oceanography and biology, was because of Jaws, because it made me want to study sharks
Yeah.
and the behaviors of sharks. But Also, too, I love what Steven Spielberg did whenever the animatronic shark would not work. They actually had problems on the set and everything, so therefore he had to use different types of props and everything just to make it work.
Oh yeah, no, I said I didn't know that.
Yeah, like for instance, the mechanical shark didn't even work, so they actually had to use ways to make an element to where something was actually scary. Like for instance, you know how we see certain things getting knocked over on the boat and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The shark, I think during one of those scenes, the shark was not working. So therefore, they actually had to make it to where something was knocking it down, something was pulling the boat. You also had the part where they were trying to track the shark. That's actually another element they actually had to use um, in order for them to go on ahead and say that there was a shark in the water.
Mm-hmm.
So there's several different things that they actually used that was actually pretty good improvisation for that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what I have on my list for mine. What do you have for
Okay.
the next one?
The next one, it's kind of a toss up between Poltergeist and Stigmata. Do you remember Stigmata?
I remember Stigmata. It's just it didn't stick with me, so I'm kind of. And once again, that's one of those other Catholic movies
Yeah.
as
Oh
well.
yeah, for sure, for sure. And I mean, the part that stands out that really messed me up was when she started speaking in Latin, and just the way the voice was, and just know like it was just that part really freaked me out, you know. But
Right, and
that's a movie. Yeah, if you don't really remember it, man, you should watch it. I think it's on Prime. It's good, man. I watched it the other day. It was really good.
all right, I'm gonna have to revisit it because I remember a Chumbawamba song being played on the opening
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and everything,
Oh yeah.
and about Saint Mary, I think was the name of the song
Uh huh.
that was actually being played. Like I remember bits and pieces, but I don't remember the whole thing. So I'm
Right.
definitely gonna have to do a revisit because I have been revisiting some older films.
Yeah, yeah. You would enjoy it for sure, especially the whole Catholic side of it and everything. You would dig it, man. You would like it.
I'm a sucker for good Catholic horror films, so that's definitely gonna be right up my alley.
Oh yeah. But Poltergeist, man, that was scary. You know what I'm saying? I mean, now you watch it now and it's not, it's not too scary because the graphics are kind of cheesy and shit like that. But back then when I was a kid watching Poltergeist, it messed me up.
I can
I remember
imagine.
it took me a while to finish it. Like I had to watch it, in pieces because I couldn't watch the whole movie. It scared me that much.
Like what scene did something actually stick out on that one
On
for
that
you?
one, the man, I'm not scared of clowns. I actually like clowns. I've always liked clowns since I was a kid. I like clowns, but which is weird because most people are terrified of clowns. But the part with the clown under the bed, that part freaked me out. You know what I'm saying? When they grabbed the kid and then pulled the kid in the closet,
Yeah.
that part scared me. See, I don't like closets to this day because of that movie.
So what do
Because
you do? You just leave the closet door open, or do you just take the doors off?
I close it and I don't fuck with it, especially at night when I'm going to sleep. I won't. It has to be closed. You know, or I
I
won't be
bet
good.
everybody feels that way towards Halloween though too, with Jamie Lee Curtis when she gets attacked in the closet. So I'm
Oh
sure
yeah,
that there people are that feels the same way about Poker Dice.
yeah, yeah. And call me crazy, man, but in my opinion, I liked Rob Zombie's Halloween over the original. And a lot of people disagree, man, but I thought the Rob Zombie Halloween was phenomenal.
I really enjoyed the very first Rob Zombie Halloween over the second one.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah. The second one wasn't too great, but the first one was amazing.
I agree. It was like an Elseworld Michael Myers, if you think about it. If they
Right. Yeah.
through the lenses of Rob Zombie, it's basically
Hmm.
what it is.
Yeah.
And I didn't mind how he did it and everything. I thought it was very good. I thought he captured Michael Myers, the background of Michael Myers, really well. Even
Hmm.
though we were used to the whole shape thing,
Yeah.
where that's basically the premise is just him being the boogeyman behind your house kind of thing, where he's
Right.
just the shape stalking you.
Right.
And that's something that people had against it was because it got rid of that whole entire element and just focused on the fact that this kid was abusing animals, which had serial like killer behavior.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
basically, that's what people actually frown upon the Rob Zombie version a lot
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
everything. But to me, I think it just adds to the character for them to actually have it. Even for Loomis's character,
Right.
it shows the history of Loomis in him and how much time he actually spent with him.
Right. And see, I like that about that. I like knowing the background of the person, you know what I'm saying? Or the whatever the character is. I like to know the full background. And I feel like he captured that well.
I did too, and I agree with you on finding out the backgrounds on on certain characters. Some characters, I'm like, you know what? I'd rather use my imagination versus somebody explaining to me
Right.
how this person came to be.
Mm-hmm.
But for Rob to do what he did, I was very pleased with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
The poker dice thing, I'm gonna have to go with Poker Dice 2.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that scared me was the braces. Whenever the girl, you have that creepy old man that knocks on the door,
Mm-hmm.
and then after he leaves, I think it had something to do with her braces or something, where her braces are going through her teeth or something. It was just really horrifying. I think that's also too why I never wanted to get braces.
Oh
No,
yeah. Oh yeah.
it's like no, I'm good. I don't want no braces. I'm good.
And there was a movie I cannot think. It may have been called Dentist.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. That movie was like, you know what I'm saying? That made me not want to go to the dentist for sure. You know, like
ex-
that movie was crazy.
exactly. You don't want to piss off the dentist at all.
No, no, no,
And
no.
that dude was already having a bad day. It was like
Yeah.
watching Michael Douglas and that movie Falling Down because of how
That,
bad of
yeah,
a day he had.
that's a great movie, man.
It
Because
really is.
I feel like we all feel that way. Like we're going to, snap like that one. You know what I mean?
Right. Um let's see here. For one of my other movies that I actually picked out, I've actually got Friday the 13th down. I don't
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't know if
That was a
that's
good one.
I don't know if
Yeah,
that
for sure.
actually horrified you as a kid or not.
No, it never really. It was one of those movies where I would watch it and it was just a good movie. You know what I mean? Like I could see where it was creepy to certain people. You know what I mean? But it never really scared me like it did a lot of people that I know.
Right.
You know, from uh, shit, Nightmare on Elm Street scared me
I can
way
agree
more
with
for
that
sure.
on that level too, but it's just the whole fact that these camp counselors are camping, and the very first one didn't have Jason in it, and it didn't even show you who the killer was or anything like that. It turned out to be his mom, and
Right.
the thing that actually scared me was the fact that you can go camping, and while you're sleeping, people could actually be dying, or something
Yeah.
horrific happened to one of your friends that drowned, and
Mm-hmm.
camp counselors are not even keeping an eye on this person's kid, not keeping an eye on your friend at all or anything like that. They're busy having sex, they're busy doing drugs, they're busy doing whatever they want besides keeping an eye on you, which is what they were supposed to be doing, which is part of their job. So
Right.
there's that little bit of an element into it where I can actually say that I was actually horrified because of the fact that, camp counselors are supposed to be watching somebody and they're not. And then also too,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, the Kevin Bacon scene uh, sh- where Jason's mom actually takes the arrow and sticks it down into his heart while he's on top of the girl.
Mm-hmm.
That part was really something to watch.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. It was a great movie, man. It was. I mean, I enjoyed all of them. All the the 13th
I
movies. You
didn't
know.
really care for Jason X or Friday the 13th 10 that much in space.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even, I don't include that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's one of the ones where it's like I don't even feel like that one that even exists because that one did
I
suck.
feel
It
like
was terrible.
anytime that they put
Yeah.
certain characters, horror characters that don't belong in space in a movie, that movie winds up sucking.
Hmm. Oh yeah,
Like, look
for
at
sure.
Leprechaun in space. Look at Jason X.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Jason X, man, that's one of those cringy movies where you watch it and you're like, what were they thinking? You know what I mean? Like, God, it's not good, in my opinion. And I can see there's some people that
Right.
may like it, but it was. To me, it was
It's definitely
god
not
awful.
my taste,
It was bad.
but I did like one death scene in that movie, and that was the part where the girl has the where she's messing with some type of frozen chemical or whatever, and he winds up freezing her face and then smashes her face onto the counter.
Yeah, see, I don't even remember that, man, because I think I
I
blocked
don't
out the
blame
whole
you on
movie.
that.
Honestly,
I don't blame you on that at all, but that's like the only death scene that I liked in that whole entire movie because I didn't really. It reminded me of a straight to DVD release rather than a theatrical movie that came out for a limited time.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, but the original Friday the 13th and then Friday the 13th 2, whenever they actually introduced Jason and everything, was actually another one of those horror films where I was scared of Jason. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so what else?
Good.
What do you have next?
Huh? Next, I wasn't. I can't remember how old I was. I wasn't a kid. I had to have been a teenager. But the Ring was really
Yeah, The
good, bro.
Ring. I think you and I were about close to the same age. We were teenage in our teens when that movie was actually released because it was around 2000, 2001. I want to say.
Yeah, I have no idea, but I know that movie was pretty fucking scary. You know what I'm saying? Like it got me pretty good.
What part would you say that it was actually traumatizing for you?
Man, the way the way the girl was walking towards that lady, I can't remember her name. It's been so long since I watched it. But when she was coming out of the TV and the way she was walking, like her body, and you could hear the cracking and
Oh
shit,
yeah,
that scared me. That freaked me out. And I was shit. I had to have been, I don't know what. How old were we back then in 2001? Shit, I don't know. But either way, it was scary. Like 14, 15,
yeah.
something
That
like
movie came out in 2002.
that.
So
Okay, so I had to be what 16, something
right.
like that.
So I just wanted
Yeah,
to go back and
or
see.
17. I said I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I was old enough to where I probably shouldn't have been scared, but it scared me. I may not have admitted it back then, but it
Right,
freaked
and
me
what's
out.
it was good for a PG-13 movie though, for it to actually be as scary as it was for its
Oh
time.
yeah, for sure. Shit, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't know. Well, it was. I thought it was
No, it was
R for
actually just a
sure.
PG-13
Wow.
film, and
No shit.
and for it to be PG,
It got me. It got me.
right, and for it to be PG-13, it's just fantastic for its time.
Yeah, sure. Definitely.
Let's see here. The
Wow.
next one I got is the It miniseries, but
Oh yeah.
Tim Curry.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. That was good. That's another movie that I tried to show my daughter, and she could she liked it, but she was like, it's not scary at all, But like I was telling her, you got to understand, when we were kids, we wasn't used to shit
No,
like this. You know what I mean? Like there was totally, and but she thought it was funny. She was like, oh, the graphics are terrible. It's cheesy, and when you watch it now, you can see where it's like, oh god, this is very cheesy, but it's still good, man. It's a
right.
classic, and I still get freaked out a little bit by it,
The
when I
thing that
watch it.
freaked me out was the sword drains and stuff like that. Every single time I think of
Mm-hmm.
sword drains and drains and everything, I think of it every single time. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
it made me even scared to even take. I remember I was 10 years old. I want to say when this thing was actually on TV. Matter of fact, it was on ABC for crying out loud in the
Oh
'90s
yeah.
for a
Yeah.
miniseries,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
I remember being afraid to even take a bath because I was
Oh
afraid
yeah.
that his hand was actually going to pop out of the drain and
Yep.
everything. That's how scared I was. And
Oh yeah.
then,
I mean, when I was little, like in the '90s, I was a scary kid, man. I was scared of everything. I remember being scared to death of of the Michael Jackson Thriller video. Oh my god, that scared me.
for me, it was like that Moonwalker, the one that they showed in Epcot Center. I forgot the name of that film that Michael Jackson. Uh, that actually scared me as a kid because it was in 3D, and that was my first time experiencing a 3D
Oh
movie when I was just like 4 or 5 years old. And I
yeah.
remember just going bonkers. But yeah, I remember being terrorized in that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That and with me, it was the Thriller video, and then when Weird Al came out with a video on a Michael Jackson song, that song
Yeah.
"I'm Bad." You know what I'm talking about? Well, it was I'm Fat is what it was called. And when Weird Al, he blows up in the video, like he gets really really fat. He goes from skinny and he goes to fat. I don't know why, but that scared the shit out of me. I remember I
Oh
cried.
wow,
I cried.
that's
Yeah,
crazy.
I don't know. And see, and it goes back to when I saw The Exorcist and her throat swells. It's something to do with swelling up. It freaks me out. I don't know why. That's it. Something must have happened, and I just don't remember it.
Right.
you know.
Um.
Yeah.
You know what? I actually remember the name of the movie that with Michael Jackson now. It's called Captain EO.
Captain EO. I'm not
Yeah.
familiar with that.
It's some type of Disney Epcot Center thing that they were airing during that time in the 80s. And
Yeah.
I forgot what year I went. I know that I went 3 times to Disney World. And
Mm.
I know it was a very young age. And it was one of those 3D films inside that ball that you have where it says a small world after all. That was before they actually put that in there. And
Yeah.
I went into that theater, that auditorium with my grandfather and my mom. And I remember
Mm.
crying my brains out because of how scary the witch looked or the alien looked.
Oh yeah, and see when you see it today, you're like, why the hell was I scared of
Exactly.
that?
It
It's
definitely
weird, man.
is. It goes to show you how big of an imagination that Hollywood had at that time and everything too, and how they
Yeah.
could actually make something scary. But
Mm.
back to the It miniseries too, though. I mean, yeah, it was cheesy, especially whenever you look at the clown costume that they have, because that's actually the jester costume that we were actually accustomed to during that time period and
Mm-hmm.
everything. It was supposed to be your friendly clown or whatever. And knowing that this
Right.
clown can actually feed on your fear and then kill you, that's
Mm-hmm.
something that's actually horrifying as well.
Oh yeah, the concept is just terrifying. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And then I still remember getting scared just off the boat, the paper boat, whenever they're inside the store itself and that boat is
Yeah.
just floating floating towards them.
Yeah.
I had goosebumps every single time I actually saw that and
Yeah.
everything too. And then also too the fog inside the store and things like that. And Tim Curry put his 110% of acting skills into that role to do what he did
Mm-hmm.
because
Oh yeah.
that movie gave me nightmares.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's definitely one of the scariest ones for sure.
All right, so what do you have next?
I would have to go with the Omen. The Omen. That one bothered me.
Another one of your Catholic.
Exactly. Exactly. It all goes back to Catholicism. That's for sure. Yeah, man, that one got me pretty good for sure. I like the remake of it. Man, was actually really good.
I didn't get around to seeing the remake of it or anything like that of the Omen.
Mm.
I only remember the Gregory Peck one.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the same. I mean, I guess it would be more of a reboot than a remake, I guess. But it's the same concept, same different characters, and just kind of you know uh based on today instead of back then. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, but
The
it was good, man. It was good. They did well. They did good.
What would you say that actually terrorized you to the point where you're like, okay, I'm gonna put this on my list?
Oh, just the whole. I mean, him being the Antichrist. You know what I'm saying? That whole. I mean, like I said, it all goes back to Catholic shit with me, man.
Right.
And that part scared me. It freaked me out. Because I
Most
mean, even
definitely.
I mean, if I was to read the Book of Revelations right now, I won't sleep for a fucking week. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's anything to do with the Antichrist and the devil and shit like that. It's always freaked me out, man. It always has.
I
Probably
can
always
understand
will.
that because it's just something that's actually horrifying to know that someone can be born with these supernatural powers and have
Hmm.
that much control over something.
Right, right. And then the mother, or I can't remember. I get it mixed up, but she was trying to give the baby. No, they were going to give the baby to the cult, right? Like it was like
Right.
yeah. And I remember her walking in and all those people wearing the robes and shit. That bothered me. That freaked me out. I remember that. Yeah, that scared me for
But yeah,
sure.
I can definitely see why that would actually scare you, though. I mean, come on. I mean, like I said, there's that supernatural feel to it, to
Oh yeah.
where a demon or the devil is actually inside this person,
Hmm.
and he has this full control over how people see things. He has this whole entire perspective of how he can control you
Hmm.
and stuff like that. It was just balls to the wall crazy,
Oh yeah,
you
for
know.
sure.
Okay, so I'm gonna go a little bit different
Hmm.
to my childhood, and it's outside the horror realm because I
Okay.
know that we've been doing a lot of horror related stuff.
Yeah.
But our our parents always gave us stuff to entertain us as
Yeah.
kids, and they thought they had their best intentions at heart and everything
Yeah.
when it
Sure.
came down to children's movies and things like that, making sure
Hmm.
that everything's right for us to watch.
Yeah.
But they sometimes they don't know how dark something actually is until they actually sit down and watch it with you.
Right. Right.
And that goes with Secret of Nim, for example,
Oh yeah.
because I talked about that just a few days ago with Frenchie.
Right.
Uh,
You're gonna have to refresh my memory on that. I remember it, but it's hazy.
it's
Because it's
just
been a
one of
long time.
those dark animated films, and this is not even on my list. This is just me retelling the story, but it's just one of those movies where this mouse is mourning her son because something happened, and then now she has to move because this other thing is actually happening, and it's just this dark story about trying to cope with the loss of your son while you're actually struggling with something else that's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah,
That's one of those deep movies.
it's deep for an animated movie about a mouse.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
And it's also got monsters in it. It has other elements of horror in that thing too.
Hmm.
So yeah. But the
Okay.
movie I'm going to go with is The Never Ending Story.
Really?
And it wasn't the fact that the movie's horrified me. It was my first experience with death kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that was the moment when you realized, oh shit, this isn't forever. Like
Right.
yeah, okay. Oh yeah, man, that's
Uh,
never good, man. When you realize that shit as a kid, you're like, it changes everything. You know what I'm saying? It changes everything.
like here I am having a good time eating my popcorn or juice pop, and then
Yeah,
all of a sudden Atrax gets caught in the mud, and the mud's pulling him down,
yeah, oh yeah,
and Atreyu is trying to pull him up and everything, and he's struggling to get him up, and it's just one of those jaw dropping deaths that you don't expect to actually happen to this character
right.
because it's a
Oh yeah,
children's story for crying out loud. It's a
oh
kid
yeah,
reading a story about this thing
oh
about
yeah,
the
yeah.
and like I said, our parents had good intentions as to what they were picking out for us.
Mhm.
It's just that at that time they didn't realize what they until they actually sat down with us. Like, okay, this is a little dark for my 6 or 7 year old to actually watch, or 4 year old to watch.
Right,
And it was just my first reality with death and something actually happening to a character. And I'm like, okay, this world is not forever.
right,
There was just something heavy, and of course, as a kid, you don't really think about death or anything like that. You're just busy having fun and being a kid,
right,
because you
right.
also think you're indestructible. You pretty much feel like you're Logan
Hmm.
from Wolverine, thinking
Yeah.
that you have these powers where you're healed in like 3 or 4 days, and you can do just about anything you want.
Hmm.
You know,
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it sticks with you, man. Like when you realize, the whole mortality thing, you're like, wait a second, man. You know what I mean? You're like, this isn't. Yeah, that's not cool. That really sucks.
it really does.
Oh yeah.
So, what do you have for yours for your next?
Man, since you said never ending story, I'm gonna go with Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
That movie is dark if you actually think
It
about it.
is extremely dark. I mean, but and it's parents used to look at it like it's innocent. It's about candy, and when you really get into the movie, you're like, man, this is sick. This is a sick freaking movie, And
Right, you have
yeah,
this
I mean,
nice guy supposedly inviting you over to see his candy shop, and then horrifying things are happening to these kids because of their greed and because of everything else that they're doing.
not to mention, he's got all those Oompa Loompas working in basically a freaking sweatshop. It's
That's
like
true.
Jesus Christ, man.
That is
Holy,
horrifying, though, especially that
yeah.
Oompa Loompa song
Oh
that they
yeah.
actually sing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Forget about the Johnny Depp version. The Jane Wilder version is by far the scariest.
Way creepier for sure. Definitely. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then,
and,
the girl that eats the blueberry and she turns into a blueberry.
and she swells up, and you know how I feel about that.
Yep. I can see you going, I'm out.
Yep. I was like, what the hell's happening?
But,
Oh
it
yeah.
also teaches you morals. It actually teaches kids, there's consequences behind every action,
Right.
behind the horror, behind every being scared with
Yeah.
something like that.
For sure.
And, I have to say, I mean, I love that movie. I watch it every single time it comes on. But
Oh
it
yeah.
is definitely a dark and horrifying movie because you're expecting all these kids to actually get out of this place alive, at
Mm.
least, and say, okay, well, you're not the winner. I chose this person, so therefore you guys have to exit. But
Right.
instead, their own greed, their own mistakes that actually gets them into trouble. And there's those consequences that I talked about.
Yeah.
So, most definitely.
Oh yeah.
So I actually picked out Pet Cemetery for my next one.
Oh man, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that is a good. I would have put that on the list too, but I didn't even think about it. That was a very scary one.
That was, especially when you look at Indian burial ground,
Yeah,
and the cemetery is actually built on an Indian burial ground. Now, I love the original Pet Cemetery movie. I actually watched the remake of it. I
yeah.
prefer now. Everybody's saying, "Well, that's just garbage. That was just a garbage movie." But I've
Shit,
said this.
no,
But here's the
that was
thing: I've
yeah.
seen bad remakes before.
Right.
That remake is not as bad as what people are making it out to be.
No, and I just watched that recently, actually, the remake, because I didn't even know they remade it. I had no idea, and I watched it, and it gave me the same uncomfortable feeling that I had when I watched the original. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
I mean, it's just it creeped me out, and the whole time I was uneasy. I mean, from beginning to end, it gave me an uneasy, uncomfortable feeling. You know what I mean? I can't explain it, and it's the same thing with the original, man. When I watch it, I'm like nervous the whole time. You know what I mean?
Most definitely, because that's what a horror movie is supposed to do, right? It's supposed to make you
Yeah.
feel uncomfortable. It's supposed to be that bump in the night to make you scared in your bed, wondering what that noise is.
Right, and they, for sure, on both the original and the remake, they captured that for sure.
Most
And
definitely.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, I could say a, a big thing why people don't like the remakes and shit is because they're just so stuck on the original, and they're not open minded enough to give something else a chance. But like, and I get that to a certain, because like, God forbid, man, if they tried to remake, I don't know, The Godfather or something, I probably wouldn't watch it. You know what I'm saying? I'd be
Same
like,
here.
nah, so I get it. When you're a fan of something, you don't want them to fuck it up. I get that. But sometimes, like, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the remake.
I did too. And, I wish that they would actually put a little bit more emphasis into the Indian burial ground more.
Yeah.
Give us a lot more background, because that's what I was actually hoping for with the remake, because they didn't really do that too much with the original film.
Yeah.
But, the thing that, like I said, the thing that creeps me out is the fact that you have this Indian burial ground. You can actually bury your pets. Your pets come back to life, but they're not the way that they're supposed to come back to life.
Hmm.
It's not the way that you remembered them.
Right.
And there was just something eerie about it, and that uncomfortable feeling, like you mentioned.
Hmm.
And that's what I fell in love with Pet Cemetery about, was that whole entire concept. And then, of course, you have a stupid character that goes on ahead and is like, well, you know what? It didn't work out well with my cat. So let me go on ahead and let me just go on ahead and bury my wife and see if
Yeah.
this will work out.
Right. Right. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And of course, they
That's
made
a
a
good one.
second Pet Cemetery as well.
See, I don't think I've ever seen that one.
It came out in the 1990s, I think.
Yeah, I remember it coming out, but I never watched it for
Yeah, I
whatever
watched
reason.
both of them. I prefer the first one.
Uh,
As a matter of fact, I just watched the 2019 remake of Child's Play.
oh shit, 2019.
Yep,
I
Mark
didn't know they came.
Hamill. Yeah, Mark Hamill actually plays the voice for Chucky now, of Chucky.
No shit.
And
How'd you like it? Was it good?
okay, I'm gonna be completely honest. And I did this with the review that I did the other night when Frenchie was on,
Mm-hmm.
but I made fun of it. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like whenever I saw the concept and everything, I was like, I do not want to see a doll, a smart doll, attack because it's supposed to be an AI attack, um, attack people. I just didn't find that scary.
Right.
But the way that they did it was really good because
Yeah.
you have this guy who is working in this factory in Vietnam,
Mm.
and he works in the factory. His boss winds up slapping him in the face and tells him to leave. So he gets pissed off. He takes off all the safety features off of that
Mm.
and off the doll, and
Yeah.
Chucky just goes crazy. And
I mean, the concept is it's a little wonky, but yeah, I would watch it.
but the delivery on it was good though because here's the thing. Think of it like this: everybody has a Roomba.
Yeah.
Everybody has different electronics and stuff like that. Chucky had it to where he can control everything because it was all part of that one company that actually made the Roomba and all the other electronics and even the drones.
Yeah.
So think of it as Apple, and he's able to control everything.
Okay. Okay. That's actually a really big fear of mine is these devices turning on us.
Right, and here's Chucky doing it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But the delivery of it was good. Like I said, when Mark Hamill was casted as the voice for Chucky, I'm like, okay, this doesn't do anything for me. I love Mark Hamill. The concept I didn't really care for. I have zero interest in seeing this. It's on Prime right now for free. You can check it out.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
And that's how I wound up watching it. And it wasn't that bad.
Mm.
So,
I still have to watch what we were talking about the other day. The what is it? Three from Hell.
yeah,
I
I
still have to
still need
watch
to
that.
get that.
Yeah, because I watched all the Rob Zombie movies the other or like last weekend I think it was, and I was gonna watch it, but it was late at night, and I was like, oh, I was ready to go to sleep. So and then I never watched it, but I might do that soon.
All right, I might actually have to join you on that so I can watch The Devil's Rejects and then put in Three from Hell.
Yeah, Devil's Rejects was amazing. Did you see that one yet or no?
I have. I just need to revisit it.
Okay, yeah, it's phenomenal, man. It's really good. That's to me that's his best work for sure. Is Devil's Rejects.
For me, it's House of a Thousand Corpses. Then, of course, you also have The Devil's Rejects and Halloween.
Yeah,
Those were the
yeah,
three films that I loved by him.
for sure.
After that, I was not crazy about Lords of Salem. I was not crazy about any of it. 31. I was not crazy about those two films.
Yeah, those two films I didn't even finish them, man. I watched. I just couldn't get into it for whatever reason.
And I get the fact what he was going for. He was going for like that 1970s kind of horror feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it just didn't deliver for me. But
Right,
if everybody else likes it and everything, well, kudos to them. But
right,
it just didn't work for me.
right, right.
So, what do you have next for your next one?
Man, I would have to say, and like I said, this didn't come out when I was a kid. I was either a teenager or maybe a young adult. I don't know, but remember that movie The Others?
Yeah, I remember that. That actually came out in 2000 or,
Okay,
or
okay,
2001.
okay. Yeah, that
There,
and I believe that one was PG-13 as well.
yep.
And dude, it was pretty freaking scary.
It definitely was, especially whenever you're dealing with the kids who have this skin condition,
Mm-hmm.
and it takes place in World War I or World War II
Mm-hmm.
in this big, huge mansion, and you don't know why, what their skin condition actually is, or why they can't actually play outside or anything because they
Right.
can't because they're allergic to the light.
Mm-hmm.
So that you have that element going for it. There's no electricity or anything like that, like I said, because it comes into World War I or World War II,
Mm-hmm.
and there's always that little bump in the night type kind of thing, you know?
Oh yeah, and that's another one of those movies where I just had that uneasy feeling through the whole film. You know, where it was just that uncomfortable. You know, if a movie could make you feel uncomfortable but still intrigued at the same time, I mean that's a good film.
Most
You know,
definitely, because the job of a horror film is to make you have that uncomfortable feeling.
exactly, but also keep you intrigued enough to watch it. You know,
Exactly.
and that would be so difficult to actually create something like that. You know, so you got to give them respect, man. You know, the people that made it.
Definitely, especially with Nicole Kidman, the way she
Oh yeah.
moves around in the house,
Mm-hmm.
and you can actually feel the fear that's actually with her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh
Because
yeah.
every single scene, every single camera angle, she's slowly walking in, and the camera's just following her with her. With her.
Right. 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 Yeah,
So
that was a good one.
they're actually rebooting that, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll be checking that out for sure.
For me, I'm 50-50 on it because I'm like, okay, what can they do? Because the whole entire concept of it being scary was because it took place in World War I or World War II.
Right.
And if they take that out and make it into like a 2020 kind of era and everything, it takes away from the creativity that the first one had with the World War I kind of flavor to it that
Yeah.
we loved.
I mean, they could come out with like a pandemic concept where they're stuck in the house and they can't leave. You know what I mean? Like something like that. And
That
that
could
would
actually probably
yeah that would definitely hit well with everybody because everybody can kind of we understand. You know.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
But let's see here. Is there anything more that you want to actually talk about with the others, or is that
No,
it?
that's it. Yeah. It was a scary movie.
Okay. So for me, for my last one, I have American Werewolf in London.
Okay. Yeah. You know, I've never seen that.
You never
I've
seen
never
the
watched.
original?
No, I've never watched the original.
Oh my god! Like the part that gets me all the time is when he sees his friend and his throat is like literally slashed,
Yeah, I gotta watch it.
and it is just gruesome. It gives me goosebumps every single time I see that. Don't get me wrong, I love the remake of American Werewolf in Paris,
Yeah.
but the whole entire idea of American Werewolf in, you know what I'm saying, in London was just really well done, and with some good originality behind it. The practical effects were really good. It may look kind of cheesy and everything, but it still does its job. I think it's just because of the fact that of the era that we both grew up in is
Yeah.
why it still has that attachment to me, where I actually have that goosebumps kind of feel to it.
Yeah. Yeah, for
But
sure.
it's definitely one of those films that I really love,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's gory too.
Yeah. What was that werewolf movie with? It got terrible reviews. A lot of people didn't like it. With Benicio del Toro, I think he played the wolf.
Yeah, it's the Wolfman.
The Wolf Man. Okay. Well, when he transforms into the wolf, when he's in that room with all the doctors and shit, and he just starts tearing shit up, and that was a good scene, man. I mean, the whole movie may not have been that great, but that scene really stands out. You know what I mean? Like that, the way he transformed into a wolf was phenomenal, man. Like I watched it the other day. I just pulled up that scene on YouTube, and I was like, wow, man, that was a really good, good transformation for sure.
To be honest with you, I love I love aspects of certain films, even though they're not the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I always say. I love concepts. I like the, you know what I'm saying? I love
Yeah,
certain aspects to a certain film, even though I
right.
didn't enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually stands out to me with that film was the Wolfman movie too,
Mm-hmm.
with Del Toro. Well, say that name again.
Benicio del Toro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a damn good actor.
he is, man. He is
But
for
yeah, and
sure.
Anthony Hopkins is in that movie too.
Yep.
So, matter of fact, they're actually going to be doing a Wolfman remake on that too.
Wow. Okay.
Ryan Gosling is going to be the Wolfman, supposedly.
I don't know if he's going to do as well as Benicio del Toro did, but he might be okay.
Depending if they're going with a 2020 kind of feel to it and not the old classic
right,
feel to it, it could work.
right. See,
Because
I really like that old classic feel with the like when they were just starting to study medicine and shit. You know what I mean? They didn't
right,
understand what was going on. You know, I like that. I enjoy stuff like that.
right, because even Frankenstein for that matter, because they're
Oh yeah,
actually doing that too.
yeah. That's going to be interesting.
So, they're studying medicine during that time as well. And it's just that whole entire thing of, okay, what does the brain do? How can the brain do this? The brain
Right,
functions.
right. Yeah, that's
So,
fascinating. That it's for them to come up with the things that they've come up with in the past 100 year 100 or so years is fascinating, man. It really is.
it really is. I don't have anything else on my list that I want to actually mention. So, that does it for me for my list. Is there anything else that you have?
Nothing that I could think of.
Okay. So, that's going to be it for the show and everything. So, I just want to say thank you for being on and taking your time to actually be on the show. I
Oh,
know that
no
we've
problem.
been wanting to do this for a while.
Oh yeah, man. And anytime, man. Anytime you want me to come back on, man, I'm ready.
Okay, sounds good. I just want to make a quick announcement. I'm actually going to be interviewing an independent actress tomorrow. Her name is Rosie McCree. She's from Los Angeles, and she's played in a couple of small indie films and stuff like that. She actually just did an audition not too long ago. She's going to be on the show for tomorrow, and it's going to be for 6 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock Central time. And after that's aired and everything, that's going to probably be around 9 o'clock, whenever it's actually going to be uploaded into the Anchor app. So make sure you guys actually check that out. And where can everybody reach you at, though, Mike?
You can check me out on Facebook and Instagram at MRPJ Sketches. And if y'all want to check out my paranormal group as well, it's Cousins Paranormal on Facebook.
All right. Well, that does it for tonight. I just want to say thanks again, everybody, for joining us. And until next time, bye bye.